I gave my unemployed stepbrother a high-paying job and even handed him free money out of the kindness of my heart. And what did he do in return? He harassed me for months. Relentlessly, he tried to sabotage my life, my job, my peace of mind. He even tried to get me fired, not knowing that this was his last chance to be decent. His last shot to show he could be more than just a burden, and he threw it all away. Growing up, my stepbrother was the golden child, and honestly, I liked it that way. When my parents tore up my report card because I got a mix of A's and B's, and then threw a party for my stepbrother Jake, who got all C's, I was still happy for him. Even when I got scolded for being too quiet and ungrateful at the dinner table, while Jake got double dessert just for bringing his plate to the sink, I was still happy for him. Because deep down, I knew that in the long run, this would only benefit me. And I also knew it would eventually cause a rift between us. Of course, I was right about both those things. I graduated high school with honors because of how hard my inferiority complex pushed me to study. While Jake, he flunked out junior year. I moved out the second I turned 18 and started paying for my own apartment. While Jake was already in legal debt by 17. My parents? They stopped talking to me the moment I left, and I never came home for the holidays, not once. The only thing I did was send $200 in cash to Jake every 2 months, just so he wouldn't be fully reliant on them. Other than that, we didn't talk. All I knew about him was that he'd somehow gotten a job as a supervisor at a local McDonald's. Honestly, I liked it that way. I didn't want anyone in my family to know how I was doing. Not my parents, not Jake, no one. I waited until I'd graduated college, bought a nice car and a condo, and had a steady job. Before seeing them again, I thought, maybe this would finally be the thing. The moment I could prove myself to them, show them I'd made it, that I was enough. Instead, I got a Thanksgiving that'll forever be burned into my memory. I showed up in an old outfit from Old Navy, and a fat check, plus a job offer for Jake. My stepdad opened the door, looking years older, and my mom, her face was pumped with Botox, but the expression behind it was still the same. To my surprise, they actually welcomed me in. But that mask of kindness? It crumbled the second we sat down. Jake had been fired from McDonald's after just a year, and had been unemployed ever since. I saw my chance. I work at a bank, and we're looking for— "Oh, look at me," Jake cut in. "I get paid for using a calculator and wearing a suit," he mocked me, right to my face. And my parents? They laughed, like it was a joke, like I was the joke. I stared at him. 8 years had passed. Surely he wasn't still a man-child. I brushed it off. Told myself it was just a bad joke. Tried again. But every time I spoke, he'd make faces or mutter "desk monkey" under his breath, like a kid who never grew up. Like respect was still too much to ask for. So I gave up on the job offer and just handed him the $15,000 check. Instead of thanking me, he smirked. "Bet your dead daddy's real proud you turned out to be a money parasite, huh?" My face dropped. Rage burned through me, fast and hot. I stood up, fists clenched, ready to explode. And Jake, he bolted, locked himself in the bathroom, like a coward. I walked over and slowly unlocked the door from the outside. "Hey, Jake, did you know I was going to offer you a job that paid $60,000 today? But hey, if you'd rather beat your hot dog all day in your childhood bedroom, more power to you." Silence. I left without opening the door. A part of me was angry. Angry I let him keep the check, but I figured at least I'd helped him. Turns out, Jake didn't want the money or the job. He wanted revenge. A week later, the harassment started. First, it was weird calls at work. Someone would ask for me by name, then hang up. Then, my work email was flooded with porn site subscriptions. Then, my neighbors started giving me strange looks. Someone had put up flyers around my building, claiming I was running an illegal business from my apartment. How did Jake even know where I lived? The check had my bank's address, not my home. Then I remembered. My mom had asked for my address last year for a Christmas card she never sent. Things escalated. Expensive code packages showed up at my door. My car got keyed. Someone filed fake noise complaints against me. Then my boss called. Someone claiming to be my stepbrother had told HR I was having a mental health crisis. That was it. I was done playing defense. I called my mom and casually asked how Jake was doing. She launched into a speech about how he was between opportunities, meaning he was still living at home, jobless. Time for a new strategy. I locked down my digital life, set up fraud alerts, and installed a security camera. Then, I took a trip to my hometown to gather intel. I followed Jake to an old shed in my parents' yard. Inside, a creepy Operation Payback setup, photos of me, printouts of my work profile, even a map with my condo circled, a notebook, listed everything he'd done, and the worst things he planned. I took pictures. This wasn't sibling rivalry. This was harassment. The next week, I got a call from a credit monitoring service. Someone had tried to open cards in my name, then a text from an unknown number. Having credit problems? Maybe you should be more careful who you piss off. I didn't respond, but I did call my mom and arrange a meeting. When I showed her the evidence, she cried. "He's been troubled since you came back. He feels like you're showing off." Mom, I gave him $15,000 and a job offer. How is that showing off? She had no answer. Then, Jake stormed in. "You think you can turn her against me?" he yelled. I stood my ground. "I'm filing a restraining order. If you contact me again, you'll be arrested," he sneered. "Prove it was me." I already did. He took a step toward me, and I noticed the bulge in his jacket pocket. A gun. "Jake, what's in your pocket?" my mom asked. He ignored her. "You always think you're so smart, don't you? Little Miss Perfect." My life isn't perfect. I just worked for it instead of tearing others down. He exploded. "You had every advantage. Dad always liked you better." I blinked. "Tom never liked me." "Not Tom, my dad, your stepdad. You weren't the one compared to his brilliant stepdaughter every day after you left." I looked at my mom. "Is that true?" She sighed. "Tom changed after you left. He was proud of how independent you were. Started wondering why Jake couldn't be like that." The irony was insane. All those years, I thought Jake was the golden child. Turns out, he'd been living in my shadow, but it didn't excuse his behavior. "Jake, whatever happened in the past, it doesn't justify what you're doing. This ends now, or I file charges." He scoffed and left, slamming the door. 2 days later, I got a call from the hospital. Jake had been hit by a truck crossing the EEE highway. Against my better judgment, I went. He looked awful. Broken arm, concussion. "You came," he said, surprised. "What happened?" "Wasn't paying attention," he muttered. "The nurse asked for insurance." Jake panicked. "I don't have any." I paid the bill. Before I left, Jake said, "I'm sorry for the dad comment. That was too far." It wasn't a full apology, but it was something. A week later, Jake showed up at my condo, clean, dressed nicely, arm still in a cast. "Can we talk?" I let him in and recorded the conversation. "I won't bother you anymore," he said. "I got 2 jobs, paying Mom back, and this is for you." He handed me an envelope, a few $100s. "It's a start. For the hospital bill and the check you gave me." I was stunned. "You don't have to." "I need to." I set it aside. "If you really want to pay me back, stay on this path. That means more than money." He nodded. Then, impulsively, I asked, Want to grab coffee sometime? He blinked. Yeah, maybe next week. Over the next few months, we met regularly. Jake got promoted, quit his second job to study for his GED, and even paid me back the full $15,000. People deserve second chances when they're trying to change, I told him. My mom called one night. Thank you for whatever you said to Jake. He's doing so well now. I didn't do anything. He did this himself. You gave him a chance. She said softly. And I'm sorry. For everything. 6 months later, Jake passed his GED. At dinner with my mom and Tom, he handed me a check, $15,000. This isn't just about money, he said. It's about being someone who honors his debts. I took it. Later, Barbara asked, You're sure he's changed? It's been a year, no red flags. He's working, saving, even talking about community college. That night, Jake texted, Downtown branch manager wants me to train for the personal banking team. This is all because of you. I replied, No, it's because of you. I'm just glad you're doing well. His response, family dinner at Mom's Sunday. I'll protect you from Tom's new kale obsession. I laughed. I'll bring dessert. For the first time in my life, I had a brother. Not just a stepbrother who made my life miserable. Sometimes the family you build isn't the one you were born into. Sometimes it's the one you forge through hard conversations, second chances, and the choice to see people for who they're trying to become.